Welcome back. So today we're continuing on part two of our series covering AWS Cognito and Go. So in part one, we walked through creating an IAM user and access keys so that we can use the AWS SDKs. We also created a Cognito user pool for our application, and we set up a Go service and created an API to sign up new users into our Cognito pool. Today, we're going to walk through the verification of these new users, and we'll discuss two ways of handling verification. And we'll also add in code to auto-confirm our new users. So let's hop right in here, jump into Manage User Pools, and we'll go back to our user pool that we created. So right now, when we create a new user, it's going to show up and it will not be verified. So AWS Cognito, you get to choose your verification policy. And there's a few different ones here. You can do email, phone number, email or phone number, or just no verification. So the simplest one to do would be this no verification rule here. And you can check that when you create your user pool. Now, we did not check that creating our user pool. We had email selected, just because I also want to walk you through using the AWS Cognito Identity Provider SDK to verify a user after you create them. So let's keep this checked now to just email for right now, and we don't need to save any changes. So right now, when we create a user, and let's run this here. All right, so we've attached, we're all set up here and running. So right now when you create a user, localhost 8080 sign up body. Let's hop into our user pool and refresh the page. So we just created this user, dev1 we see, and we see account status is unconfirmed. So this user can't sign in. AWS is going to reject them if we try to get a token using their credentials. So what we need to do is through the API here, we need to verify their sign up. So there's two endpoints you can use with the SDK. So there is confirm sign up. There's this one. And then there's also Cognito client admin confirm sign up. So the difference here, one of them has to come from a user and it has to have some kind of code that the user was sent either to their email or their phone number, or you can use this admin confirm sign up. So maybe you have some custom flow, some custom logic. Maybe there's some business logic behind the scenes that you want to handle your user sign up. You want to make sure, I don't know, their username is unique, maybe across all your services. You can handle some logic. And then if it passes, you can use this admin confirm sign up link. Or otherwise, maybe you have an email code sent out and you would use this confirm sign up here. The user would pass in the confirmation code essentially and their username. The confirmation code Amazon would generate and send out to them, and they would pass it back to you, and that would confirm this user. They would be able to sign in successfully. So this is what you would use if you're generating an email to send out a code. Right now, we're not going to do that. We will use this admin confirm sign up. We're just going to auto confirm all users. So auto confirm all users, just to show the API working. For this confirm sign up, just for an example, this is kind of the default email that Amazon would send out. So if you had your users, if you required an email to sign up, Amazon would send out a code immediately like this. Your verification code is some number, and they would have to verify it. So you would have to give them an API or some kind of UI with a form that they could put this code in, and you would then take that code, their username, and verify them like that. Okay, so again, let's not use this confirm sign up. We'll use this admin confirm sign up. So let's look at documentation on that. So this is the input that it takes here. Client metadata is an optional, it's an optional parameter. We don't need that. If you want to customize things, you can do that. If you're using like Lambda triggers or things along those lines, you'd use this. We're not going to use that today. But what we do need is our user pool ID and the user's username. So we don't actually have a user pool ID in our config right now, so we'll need to add that in. So let's do that. So we can jump in back to our code, Let's take a look. Let's add it to Docker Compose first. So Cognito user pool ID. And this is, we'll leave that blank here. And then in our aws.go file, which holds all of our config, let's put that in as well. So user pool ID, and let's just make it a string, and we'll get it from the environment here. This is the environment key. All right, so now let's actually find that ID. So if we go to our user pool, I think just general settings here, and this is our pool ID. So we can copy that over and paste it in. All right, so we're all set up there. So now we can actually make this call. So we need to set up the input. So we'll say confirm input, and we'll make a new CIP dot, yep. And let's fill all fields so we can see what we need. So remember, we don't need this client metadata. So let's get rid of that parameter. And we just need the username and the user pool ID. So our user pool ID is inside of our Cognito clients, I believe. So let's go ahead and pull that out now. Yep. And we'll need to put this inside of a AWS string, just like we did in part 1. If any of this code is unfamiliar for you, please make sure you check out part 1 of this series. That's where we set up all of this. Our username, if we remember right, it came from our request. So rec.username. And we'll also need the AWS string. Okay, so now we have this input. Let's use it. What does this function take? It takes a context, which we'll just get from the incoming request, and it takes our input. Okay, so we can do r.context and confirm input. And this returns a admin confirm signup output and an error. I don't really care about the confirm variable. I just care about the error. And let's handle that. And one thing I just realized here, we need to have return statements after these so that we don't get to the end here as well. So let's put that return statement into and here. Okay. All right, so this small little piece of code right here, this auto confirms all of our users. So we should be able to test that. So let's go ahead and change this body to dev2 so that we don't, usernames have to be unique. That's one of the properties we set up. So let's change that to dev2 and let's restart our service. All right, and we're back. So we've started up our service and let's run our request again. Users created, and let's check our user pool for users and groups. Let's refresh the page. And so here we see dev2 was created and the account status was confirmed. So our little logic there to automatically confirm it worked. Dev1 we can see is still unconfirmed. Okay. And yeah, so there is how you would handle confirmation using this admin confirm signup endpoint. So remember the other option here under MFA and verifications is you can set this up to use email verification, phone number verification, or either or. And there's some logic here, right? So for email verification, you can customize the emails that get sent. You can customize the domain name, you can customize how the email looks, etc. And you can start here with this documentation, configuring these verification setups here. Okay. If you go with that approach, you'll have to make email a required attribute. Remember when we created our user pool, this attribute was optional because we weren't going to go with that verification. So you'd have to have email or phone number as a required attribute. And obviously that would mean updating our sign up request here to have email or phone as a required attribute as well. And you'd have to handle all of that flow. Okay, so that is it. And in the next part of this series, we will cover the actual sign-in flow. We'll use our AWS SDK here, and we'll sign in and get a token, and we'll actually return back a token to the users, and then you can use this across your front end, your mobile application, wherever is consuming it, basically, to make sure your user is authenticated. All right, thank you for watching. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. I really appreciate it. It lets me know that you're finding some value from these videos, and it really helps out the channel.